Hey everyone, Hans here. Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a bit stormy lately, so I couldn't make a video sooner. But it is what it is, that's nature for you. Today I wanted to go a little bit into what a tribe is. What does that mean? What is it all about? And there are these conceptions that people have that a tribe is a family in general, which is fair enough. And I would actually go a few steps further. Throughout history, we've had many tribes of all kinds of groups, and I actually took notice in how what is the purpose of a tribe? Where to begin with that? Where does that begin? So you have a family, let's say ancient Europe. So you have your family, mom, dad, grandparents, and the grandchildren, and they struggle to survive. The family is very skilled at hunting, perhaps, but they're not very good at making clothing. They're not very good at crafting tools. You could even say, that dad is just so ridiculously big, which is, by the way, actually possible, that he can outrun a deer and just wrestle it to death. And then when he has the deer, like it's just clumsy. They clumsily have to open the skin and it's a mess, and they have to pull out the meat with their bare hands or with like some crude stones that they carved out. But then there is that other family not too far away, and they are not exactly the greatest hunters. They go hungry quite often, especially during winter when there is nothing to forage. So what makes sense for both families to do? As they're not great hunters but great tool makers perhaps. Well, they work together. And now you have the early conception of a tribe. So maybe from both families, children intermarry with a few generations onwards. But of course, there is also that matter of preventing that the great-grandchildren or whatever have to have families with other great-grandchildren, which is by the way I mean pathogen that people are pushing, scum of the world. But no, now you need to look even further for more families. And some families may be like, oh, actually, yes, let's intermarry, but now that we are actually one big family through intermarriage and what have you, how about we just stick together? And the tribe continues to grow. I know, very simplistic way of looking at things, but that's, if I'm going to toss in the mess that is life, so to say, we'll be sitting here until tomorrow, right? Now, at a certain point, you'll have a threshold of a number of people in a given environment, and it becomes too difficult to survive. There is too many people, but there is not enough food. There is, like nature itself is starting to become depleted because all the animals are being hunted, all the fruits are being eaten. So the tribe is, by extent of that, forced to split up. That doesn't mean that they never have contact again. It just means that they're going to a neighboring area where they can thrive just fine. And so and on and on and on it continues. Many groups of peoples, not just the one, right? And I think that in very short is what a tribe is. However, is that it? Is it all just, pardon for the lighting, can be helped, I'm afraid. But is that all it is? Not necessarily. For example, some tribes some families within tribes may actually choose to separate from one another too, for different reasons. It's not just like the entire half of an intermarried part of the tribe moving off from the other part that's also intermarried. It can also be that a new family joins, uh, but because the area where they come from is flooded, and now they need succor for a season or so. And then after that season has passed, the family's like, hey, we've been part of the tribe, but we're going to go back to our place now because the water has receded and all of that. And the free choice and all of that is very important. And of course, there will, after a few more generations, the creation of the tribe is more of a fundamental part of the society or the community that has been built. So they're going to come up with a name for themselves. We are the beautiful ones. We are the warriors. We are the tree folk, whatever it's going to be, right? And by extent of that, now you're going to see the culture also involve more so the tribal identity by name. You probably are going to have flags, banners that will be made. There is going to be more of an eye of, okay, after a certain threshold of people, perhaps we need a few more rules so everything remains manageable. But spoken rules, codes of honor, not written law. Big difference. And just as sure as some families or individuals may join, certain will break off again. That needn't be because of any drama. It can just be because necessity demanded it, or it was just the time to do so. It can be anything. That doesn't mean that the breaking up of a tribe is always a bad thing. That it always needs to be about bitterness and anger and what have you. No. And with enough families in a given area, given continent even, you're going to have many different tribes. Many of them who actually do share the same bloodlines from across generations like that. Which is natural. It's normal. It's the same with animals too. Well, pack or herd animals, if you so will. And why do I bring all of this up? I thought it was just interesting to explore this topic a bit. Because tribalism, there is a lot of healthy aspects to it. Depends a bit on how people treat it, I guess. But it needn't all be rooted in the names and in the flags and what have you. You can choose. And nobody should demand, I suppose, for you to follow, I guess, a flag. If the flag, no, that's not the right way of putting it, I think. There should be room to come into a tribe and go out of it again, provided, there is no conniving intentions there. I think that's the best way to present it. Because sure, you're going to have these characters who are only in it for themselves. They join a tribe, they empty the cupboard, so to say, and then they're off again to do the same thing with another tribe. That happens, unfortunately. And that should never be encouraged, right? It should actually be found as despicable behavior. Which I think most people would agree with that. And so, over the course of centuries, you end up with different groups coming and going. And sometimes even, tribes that have existed for generations, at some point they kind of stop existing. It's not because they all got wiped off the map, it's just they broke up in different and went in different directions because maybe necessity demanded it as such. Maybe some felt that they had adventures to go on to, whatever it's going to be. And that is okay. There is perhaps something for people to learn from that. And I suppose it's a bit of a random topic to bring up, but I felt that I had to. Well, yeah, I felt and I thought that maybe it is something that can be a boon to others. To contemplate about it a bit and think, does that make sense? And it's not because you have a tribe with others that even needs a name. That's just because it can be helpful at times, I suppose. But it doesn't need to. And I think that's all I have to say for now. It's just a bit of a thought exercise, just something to have fun with. It doesn't always need to be these heavy-handed topics, right? So yeah, I'll leave you all with that. You all have a good one and bye bye.